There were high hopes when the New York Giants took Jaylen Hyatt out of Tennessee in the 2023 draft. And in 2024, there were high expectations. Through 3 games, it's pretty clear to see he is not meeting the hopes and or the expectations of this fan base and this team. I'm Coach Gene Clemens, and I've got a giant issue. 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of A Giant Issue. I'm Coach Gene Clemens. New York Giants on SI. That's where you find all of your New York Giants news and information. Make sure you go there first, right when you wake up. Like if you haven't watched this yet, if you've watching this, watch this while you go over there and do both at the same time, like split screen it on your computer or on your phone. You know how you do. New York Giants on SI YouTube channel. Thank you to everybody that has subscribed, but we still have not gotten to 2,000 yet. And I am going to be on this until we do, and then I'm going to change it to 3,000. So help me get to 2,000 first right here. Go ahead, hit the subscribe button. That way, anytime we upload anything, you want to hit that little notification bell as well. And then you'll know whenever time I bring a new Giant issue out, or when Paul Dottino has any of his Big Blue breakdown that you want to check out as well. We appreciate you for making us a listen throughout the day. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or anywhere you get your podcasts, we love you guys as well. Keep leaving comments. That always helps. Jaylen Hyatt was a guy coming out of college that a lot of people had high hopes for. He was a speedster. He was a burner. He was somebody that a lot of Giants fans and people in the media felt could help this offense become more explosive, right? Because that's been the problem with the offense, is that the offense hasn't been more explosive. The problem is, right? The problem is that, do you have the right person in place to make it an explosive offense? What do I mean? I watched last night as Jaden Daniels repeatedly threw the ball deep and dropped the ball in the bucket to receivers running deep. McLaurin over the top, dropped it. When was the last time you saw Daniel Jones do something like that, right? Now, this isn't to bag on Daniel Jones. This is just to highlight what I've been saying about Daniel Jones forever. That's not his bag. That's not what he does well. So even in trying to do it more, which, by the way, they're just not being successful at it because it's not his bag. It's not what he does the best. And he's still trying to get that continuity down with the wide receivers. What does that mean for someone who only brings that to the table, right? I've said, I know other people have mentioned, I think one time when Jaylen Hyatt was at a workout, he got offended because somebody said, "Well, you're a speedster, you're a deep ball guy," and his retort was, "Well, I'm a complete wide receiver." Well, okay, if you're a complete wide receiver, why does your team not believe you're a complete wide receiver? If you're a complete wide receiver, then why is the team not putting you in positions to show the world that you're a complete wide receiver? When, Chris Manhertz is running more routes than you, when Tyrone Tracy Jr. is running more routes than you, we have an issue, right? Because we know, right? Darius Slayton seems to be the odd man out, right? And not because he can't play, but because they want to get the ball to Malik Neighbors and they want to get the ball to Wan'Dale Robinson. And the fact that they're only going to throw the ball somewhere between 25 and 35 times at the max means that there's just not a lot of passes left, not a lot of pass attempts left to go to a third receiver. So now compound that with the fourth guy, because Jaylen Hyatt is clearly the fourth guy. There's not going to be a lot of opportunity for him to get receptions. They're throwing the ball to Neighbors. They're throwing the ball to Wan'Dale Robinson. They're throwing the ball to Theo Johnson. They're throwing a couple of passes to Slayton, a couple passes to Singletary, a couple passes to Tracy, maybe one to or two to Daniel Bellinger, who seems to have fallen out of favor. For what reason, I don't know, because Theo Johnson hasn't been good. But what we've seen is if Jaylen Hyatt had impressed the people inside the building, out on the practice field, as much as he impressed people or supposedly impressed people with some of the highlights that he had during training camp, then guess what we would see more of? We would see more Jaylen Hyatt, but he hasn't. I don't know if he hasn't been accepting of his role, and because he hasn't been accepting of his role has actually diminished even more, or if they just don't rock with Jaylen Hyatt the way a lot of fans believe that they should rock with Jaylen Hyatt. I don't know those answers. Here's what I know. When Jaylen Hyatt came out of Tennessee, Jaylen Hyatt was a one-trick pony. He was the go deep, beat everybody deep kind of guy. And they had quarterbacks that were willing to unleash it and throwing deep. They had schemes that would scheme open a deep shot. Do they have a scheme that schemes open deep shots? And if they do they have the quarterback to throw it? My answer in both cases is no, but my answer really is they don't have the quarterback to do it, because I saw this head coach, who's now the offensive coordinator, scheme up and have things in place to throw the ball deep. I also saw it happen when Tyrod Taylor was the quarterback. So you have to have somebody that's willing to unleash it deep in order to feel comfortable throwing the ball deep. That's just how it goes. Like, that's just how it gets down. So we can't sit here and be foolish about what to think or what we do. We just have to acknowledge what we know. We have to call the spade, right? We have to call the spade. And right now, the spade is telling us, yo, this ain't it. Like, this ain't it. So what do you do? The question becomes, how do you handle this situation? Right? The question becomes, what are the Giants willing to do? And what do you as fans believe the Giants should do with Jaylen Hyatt? Right? Should they buy Jaylen Hyatt? And by buying Jaylen Hyatt, I mean, hey, Darius Slayton, move to the side so that whatever targets you're getting, we're going to give those to Jaylen Hyatt. And we're going to see if he can do more with the less, right? Because we think that he is a part of the long-term future of this team. We believe that at the height of what they're going to be able to do, a receiving core that has Malik Neighbors as one and a Wan'Dale Robinson as the slot number 2, with a Jaylen Hyatt as a number 3, can be a special 3-piece combo in an NFL where 3-piece combos at wide receiver usually mean you have a darn good offense, right? That's what they could say. Hey, you know what? It's not that Slayton's bad. It's just that we see the end of the road with Slayton, and we want to turn this thing over to the guy that's going to take us to the next level, right? They could say that. Or do they sell? Meaning Jaylen Hyatt is not going to be a part of this offense, and in the offseason, Jaylen Hyatt is probably not going to be a part of this team. We are either going to trade him or we're going to cut him altogether. It's not like he's a first-round draft pick, right? They don't have control of him for a 5th year. So we're starting to get to the point where it's, hey, we got to figure out what we want to do with this dude. And if he's a guy who's not, and I'm totally speculating, this is not something that I know for a fact, but if he's a guy who's given a bad attitude in there, when it comes to how he's being treated and his role in this offense or his lack of a role in this offense, they may just be like, yo, we don't need that right now. We're losing. And when we do win, you're not happy because you didn't play a role. Like, nah, we're going to move on. My question to you guys, are you selling Jaylen Hyatt or are you buying Jaylen Hyatt? Are you willing to be patient enough that Jaylen Hyatt may not see the ceiling or start to understand and break through the ceiling until his third and or fourth year in the NFL? Are you willing to do something, Giants fans, that you have not been willing to do? And that is be patient. I wonder. And I'm going to tell you exactly what I would do in this situation. It's the greatest time of year again. Football is back and it's here to stay till February. Over 1 million fans across 33 states have gotten the game last year by making picks on Underdog. Win up to 1,000 times your money just by choosing higher or lower on your favorite stats, touchdowns, passing yards, and much, much more. I'm going to tell you right now what I'm going with for Thursday night. I'm going back with my Giants holy trinity 3 pick here, right? I'm going Malik Neighbors higher than 0.5 rushing or receiving touchdowns. If the Giants are going to have a chance to win a game, they're going to have to get Malik Neighbors in the end zone. I'm going higher than 38.5 rushing and receiving yards for Wan'Dale Robinson. I just told you, they want to get him the ball. They're going to do it as a runner. They're going to do it as a passer. I'm going higher. And because I went higher on Malik Neighbors to get 0.5 rushing or passing touchdowns, I gotta go higher on Daniel Jones to get 0.5 passing touchdowns, because if he gets a passing touchdown, it's going to be to Malik Neighbors or Wan'Dale Robinson. You know what it is. Boom, boom. But I've got a couple of others that I tell you I like as well. I like Bobby Okereke to be higher, right, than 3.5 assisted tackles. Yes, higher. Last game he had 9 assisted tackles, right, or 8 assisted tackles. I can't remember. But the one thing I know about Bobby Okereke is he gets in on a lot of tackles, right? He's going to be there. I would take him higher than 3.5 assisted tackles. Cowboys going to throw the ball. I think he'll be there to clean up some of the tackles when you see other guys going down. And I like Tyler Nubin higher than 3.5 solo tackles. That is what I like. You should like it as well, because I'm pretty good at picking this thing. Take whatever you want. It's cool. Making picks on Underdog is straightforward, and signing up is even easier. Head over to Underdog's simple-to-use mobile app or UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with the promo code NYSI. Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your first cash pick'em entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code NYSI to claim your new customer special of a free pick and your deposit offer. You must be 18 or older, 21 or older in Massachusetts and Arizona, 19 or older in Alabama and New England, and in Nebraska. And you have to be present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, 1-800-NEXT-STEP, or text NEXT STEP to 53342. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. Lego. Now, I'll tell you what I would do if I was in the situation with Hyatt. I believe that Jaylen Hyatt has talent. I believe that Jaylen Hyatt has the ability to be a good wide receiver. But I believe that Jaylen Hyatt needs to do some things in order to get better. So I'm not even thinking about Jaylen Hyatt being a factor this year. Not a legitimate one anyway. I'm thinking of, what do I need to do so that Jaylen Hyatt looks different next year? Jaylen Hyatt is a super skinny wide receiver. I don't know who it was this summer who said that they saw Jaylen Hyatt and Jaylen Hyatt looked like he had filled out. But those are lies. Those are lies. When you put Jaylen Hyatt next to Wan'Dale Robinson looks like an action figure, right? When you put him next to Malik Neighbors is stout. When you put him next to Darius Slayton is grown man body. When I see Jaylen Hyatt, he looks like the guy who touches the weight, lifts it up, puts it back on the bar, and goes, yeah, I did my reps. You didn't see me? I did reps over there. He reminds me a lot of other wide receivers I've seen in my life as a player, as a coach, as an evaluator. I would tell him very similarly, right, to what I said about Evan Neal. Hey, if the plan isn't to play Evan Neal this year, it doesn't mean give up on Evan Neal. It means transform him in the offseason. Get him way better. Work with him specifically on the things that he doesn't do well and get him better there. I'm saying the same thing, right? I'm saying the same things for Jaylen Hyatt. I want to see him get in the weight room and put muscle on that body. I don't need him to be 200 pounds, right? I don't need him to add significant amounts of weight. I need him to look like a guy who can do more than just fly by people on a deep route. I need him to look like he can get a hitch route, get blown up, get up, shrug it off, and keep going. He doesn't look like that right now. And anybody that says he does, you're lying. You're lying. It's cap, right? He doesn't look like that. He looks like he's going to get blown away in the wind sometimes. He's this little dude. He's a skinny dude, right? This is not a knock. This is him having to understand I need to build my body up. And while I'm building my body up, I need to focus on getting better at all of the intermediate and short route game things that I clearly have not gained the confidence of my coaching staff to put me in. Right? I've got to get infinitely better at that. And so if I stop worrying about trying to play, if I stop worrying about trying to be on the field, right? If I stop worrying about having to win a position and I just worry about getting better, how much better can I be? Right? If I just have the opportunity to focus in on doing the things that will help me get better as a football player, then how much better can I be when I finally do get my opportunity? Like, those are the things that he's going to have to ask himself. Those are the things that he's going to have to have a conversation with himself about. Like this is what I'm trying to do. How do I do it? Right? This is what I want to accomplish. How do I accomplish it? Because right now, what we see is he's a guy who seems to not have gained the amount of respect as a receiver that you would hope that he would when he came in. So I'm not willing to sell. I'm not one of those people who are out here always clamoring for someone to be let go. I'm not the person that's out here always hoping that they make a change. That's not me at all. I actually think that development is underrated in this, in this society that we live in. Like that we need to see more people taking the opportunity, more teams taking the opportunity to develop the talent instead of always just looking to find the ready-made thing. Like, because usually if you're chasing something, you never catch it. If you're chasing something, it's because you're behind. And while you're behind, guess what? You're never going to catch it. It just seems to be the way. So I want to see them pour into Jaylen Hyatt. I want to see them use their considerable amount of resources to help him better himself, right? So that he's a better version of himself for the team, for his career, for the longevity of his career. Because if I don't, then it was a wasted draft pick, right? If I don't, it was a wasted draft pick. If I don't, then that means did I ever believe in him in the first place? I want all those questions answered. And if I'm Jaylen Hyatt, I want to prove that I can stay around and take advantage of the one legitimate skill that that I have, that I do better than almost anyone else, and that is take the top off. Imagine what happens if Jaylen Hyatt becomes a legitimate weapon as an intermediate, underneath, short route, cross the middle type of receiver. Like what would that change if he all of a sudden could operate in that capacity? If he all of a sudden had the ability to be that level, right? To be able to be a guy who could catch the entire route tree and then turn it into something special, right? If he had the ability to be that guy consistently, then what kind of opportunity would that open up? What kind of opportunity would that open up for him as a deep ball guy, as a deep ball threat? So I'm not willing to give up on Jaylen Hyatt. In fact, I want to see them pour into Jaylen Hyatt. Now, again, I don't think that has to happen this year. I think the development needs to happen this year. I think that they need to, and this is Jaylen Hyatt and the team, they need to focus on what's going to help him get his body where it needs to be, and then what's going to help him get to his ultimate goal of being one of them ones on the football field, right? Like one of those guys that they rely on regardless of what's going on. Because I think he has the ability to do it. I watch him get in and out of breaks. I think he has an ability to do that better. It's just all about the opportunity to do it better, right? That's all. It's just about the opportunity to do it better. And once he gets the opportunity to do it better, then he'll do it better. I 100% believe it. But I'm not willing to give up on him. I have been disappointed by his usage, but I have to stop going, oh well, I can't believe they're not using them, and go, well, there must be a reason that they're not using them. Right? Like at some point, I can't keep pointing the fingers at the coaching staff and just going, oh well, they're getting it wrong, because the truth is that I don't feel that level of confident that it's all on the coaches, right? Like I don't look at this situation and go, oh well, it clearly the coaches are the ones that are messing this up. I 100% believe it could be Jaylen Hyatt tricking this opportunity off. I believe that Jaylen Hyatt could be out here not doing the things that he needs to do in order to be better. And if that's the case, then he shouldn't be playing, right? If that's the case, then he shouldn't be out there representing. But I have to see it. I gotta find out if that's the case. It's a sad spot to be in for Jaylen Hyatt, because I know he had a lot of hopes, a lot of dreams coming into the season about what he could be. I think he envisioned himself on the level of Malik Neighbors, right? I think he thought, yo, no, I'm just as good as Malik Neighbors. But clearly, ladies and gentlemen, he is not, right? But still a great football player that needs opportunities to get better. But the only way you're going to get those opportunities, my guy, is if you prove it to somebody, and you have not proved that to them yet. So we shall see. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all the time we have for today. New York Giants on SI. That's where you get all of your New York Giants news and information. Make sure you go there. Make sure you get it locked in. And again, I'm deciding what I want to do, but I think I'm going to somebody had a great suggestion in the comments on the YouTube channel. They said that they thought I should do something at halftime. I want to give credit to whoever it was. Give me a second. At Wagner Charles 7909 said, I'd like to hear what you think of the first quarter, but I think it would be great if you did it at halftime. Let us know what you think and what you do in the second half. So that's probably what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to go live going into halftime and kind of have a New York Giants halftime show, a Giant issue at halftime, week 4, Thursday night. You might want to, you know what I'm saying, have it ready to go, because I'm going to be going as soon, and I'll go as long as halftime is. So that'll be a quick hitter, like we're in and out. But make sure that I give you the pertinence, what you need to know during halftime to get you ready for the second half. I'll give you my first half evaluations. I'll give you my observations, and I'll give you adjustments that I would want to see going into the second half. I'm going to do that Thursday, right? I'm going to do that Thursday so that you guys can be there with me. I appreciate it. Until next time, I'm Coach Gene Clemens, and I have a Giant issue.